WTL.
And welcome to WTL, everybody. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Jabron.
the Parlay Pounder.
You got it. We're back.
Yes, we are. We're back, and we're back in a big way.
We are.
Overall, we had a really good week last week.
No doubt about it.
So let's just keep the momentum going in the right direction.
Okay.
Momentum's a thing.
Yes, it is.
And it's like a centrifugal force.
I guess so.
Trust me on that one. So we're going to start Thursday night. Jaguars versus the Jets are going out to New York. That's going to be on Amazon, 7:15 kickoff. And it moved from Jets being a 1-point favorite to a pick'em.
Yeah.
And who do you like and why?
And Andy, you're talking momentum, and one of these teams has a lot of it.
Yes, they
do. The
Jacksonville
Jaguars have looked like a completely different team lately, picking up wins against the Cowboys, the Ravens, the Titans.
Sunshine's getting it done.
All solid teams.
Yep.
A big key to this success has been none other than, like you said, sophomore quarterback Trevor Lawrence, who's completed 67.8% of his passes for 1,100 yards and 11 touchdowns with one interception in his last 4 games. This is the guy that they drafted. This is what they want him to look like, Andy. Jacksonville's 9-4 against the spread in its last 13 games against the Jets.
Pretty solid.
I like the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this pick'em game.
And the Jets are 1-4 straight up last 5.
Exactly.
And who's their quarterback? Do we know?
Mike White has been ruled out. They think Wilson will probably be the guy.
Jeez.
And I just don't think people want to play for him. He's kind of that cocky neighbor kid that nobody really wants to play with right now.
Yeah, and you better not take your mama around him.
Exactly. I'm not. Yeah.
Preseason stuff. For all those reasons, I like what you're saying about Jacksonville. I like that they are got a lot of momentum going. They've won their last 3. New York Jets, on the other side of that, they're 1-4 their last 5 games. I don't know. I just like it being at New York.
Yeah.
I think even with Zach Wilson, you're starting to see some receivers start to emerge for the Jets.
Yeah.
And you could say the same for Jacksonville. In a pick'em, though, it's got to end sometime for Jacksonville, and just everybody is picking Jacksonville, and I usually go the other way.
I got you.
So for that reason alone, I'm gonna go Jets on this one.
All right. Well, even though you're picking the Jets, Andy, there's one more thing I want to touch on. That even though this game is one of the lowest totals of the week so far, sitting at 38 with that over-under, do not expect this as a low-scoring event.
Really?
Each of the last 5 Jaguars-Jets matchups has been good on the over, averaging about 45.5 points, with the Jaguars offense being on fire and the total going over in its 4 of last 5 games. I see this going over that 38 points. So no matter whatever you want to do, Jets, Jaguars, pick the over.
Smack the over. Even though the Jets, 7 of the last 9 games have gone under.
Yes.
That doesn't matter to you?
Not against the Jaguars.
Not against the Jaguars?
Not.
Okay. All right. 67% of the money is going in on that over right now.
That's where it's at. That's where it's at. I'll single game parlay the Jags in the over and I'll hit.
It's just so low for an NFL game.
It is.
But that's where we're at with that one. All right, let's stay out with some Thursday night football.
Okay.
Let's move on to the college ranks. The Armed Forces Bowl in Fort Worth. Fun venue there. Baylor taking on Air Force. Air Force is a 4-point dog. That is a 6:30 kickoff Central Standard Time on ESPN.
Yes, it is. And Baylor might be the favorite here, Andy, in the Armed Forces Bowl. But Air Force should not be overlooked. They're named for the bowl. It's an Armed Forces Bowl. Right. Air Force is there for a reason. Right. The Falcons have been one of the better teams on both sides of the ball in college football. Yep. On one hand, they average the most rushing yards in the nation, 312 yards per game, and are more capable of making big plays through the air as well. Yeah. On the other hand, their defense allows the fewest yards, 256. Yeah. I really like Air Force to pull up an upset here, Andy, and outright beat Baylor. I'm not even taking the points. I'm saying that money line at plus 160 looks really good to me.
And I'm seeing plus 165. Shop it around a little bit.
Shop it around.
I completely agree with you, Jabron.
There you go.
I think Air Force is the better team. It's an Armed Forces Bowl. I know it's in Texas and Baylor. Waco's just down the road. But that doesn't matter. I don't know if Baylor's all that excited to be there, where I do believe Air Force is.
Yeah.
What do you think about that over-under at 43? Air Force has made a living keeping that score low.
Yeah.
And this isn't that high of a total.
It's not that high of a total, Andy. I really think it's probably going to go over that. I really think they're going to have to put up a little bit more points to beat Baylor.
Okay.
I'm thinking like maybe something like 32-28. That Air Force wins, which would soar over that total. So I really think that if I had to lean away, it would be go towards the over, just because I think Air Force is going to have to put up a few more points to beat Baylor than their normal opponents that they just kind of run the clock out on.
God, I'll go along with you on that one too.
Yeah.
I'm taking Air Force straight up. Money line,
there
covering.
It is.
Give me those 4 points, and let's do the over.
All righty.
Let's stay with college football here.
Okay.
Move on to Friday night. A bowl game that so much fanfare, everyone loves and has been just waiting to watch. The Gasparilla Bowl.
The Gasparilla Bowl. Everybody's tuned in.
Gasparilla Bowl. That's a real thing, folks.
It is.
Wake Forest versus Missouri. Missouri's a 1-point dog right now. That's a 5:30 kickoff on Friday.
Yeah, Andy. And Wake Forest might have the better record here, but don't let that distract you from its awful defense. The Demon Deacons have been able to keep the ball out of their end zone lately, allowing 30 points plus per game.
Ooh.
They just let people score on them. Missouri's offense isn't elite, but it should be able to generate some numbers against this defense. So I like Missouri. I'm thinking that it kind of will be kind of a duel here, like 38-35.
That's what everyone's predicting.
I like Missouri.
I like Missouri as well. And we're talking about momentum to open the show.
Yeah.
Wake Forest just doesn't have it right now. They are 1-5 straight up. Their last 1-4 their last 5 games. So they haven't found their winning ways. Also, you kind of alluded to it. The SEC might be better competition than the ACC.
I think so.
And both of these teams very similar as far as they're 7-5 against the spread.
Yeah.
So give me Missouri. What about now this over under? They got.
It's jacked up.
Yeah, 58.5 points.
Yeah, I think I did even see it at 60 in some places, Andy, that it might have got jacked up already or it's coming down. Either way. I do like it. I think it'll push over 60 for sure. Both teams scoring over 30 points. So this might be my safer bet of this game is the over.
The over. Yeah.
Just because I really don't know who's going to win, but I know both these teams can score on each other.
I mean, it's basically a toss-up when we're talking about a 1-point dog, 1-point favorite here. So that's basically a coin flip.
But I like the over. I do.
All right. Well, before we move any further ahead, let's take a look back at some of our hits and misses, and let's start with the bad news. The misses. Minnesota versus the Colts. What a wild game.
Yeah.
The line closed at 3.5, Minnesota. We were both on Minnesota.
Big time.
And they only won by 3.
Yeah.
Had it in the bag the whole way, though.
Yeah. Oh, my God. They got down, what was it, 33-0?
Yes,
30-0, 33-0.
Yep.
And, everybody kind of wrote it off or whatever. It was so much fun. I was down in Kansas City at a bar, and everybody was watching it, and it was just a lot of fun to see them come back and win that game.
Yeah.
But, obviously, I think I had it as one of my locks of the week that they would cover that 3.5, 4 points. They should have. Obviously, they're a lot better team than the Colts. And just they couldn't get it going until later in that game, and ended up not covering by half a point.
They even gave up a drive or two in the second half. To the Colts, and we're still able. And poor Matty Ice, Matt Ryan, he has now the largest comeback loss, in the Super Bowl history.
Yep.
And now in regular NFL season,
the 2 worst ever. The 2 worst.
And it wasn't all his fault.
It wasn't, but
I knew they were going to govern down their offense, and that's just smart football to a certain extent.
And
then when they tried to restart it, it was too late. Minnesota had it all.
You can't lose 33-0 and lose that game. It was awesome that it happened, but not awesome for the bettors.
Yeah, that half point that just kind of made it sting a little bit more.
Yes, it did.
You knew it was going to happen too. All right, let's talk about one of our hits, and that was the 49ers traveling over to Seattle, a divisional game.
Yeah.
A lot of money was pouring in on the Seahawks, which they've had a better than expected season.
Decent season.
Yeah, and they were only 3-point dogs at home, like we said, to a divisional foe.
Yeah.
So a lot of people thought Seattle could cover. We did not.
No, we did not, Andy. The San Francisco 49ers are an elite team in the NFL.
Yeah.
It seems that it doesn't really matter who's playing quarterback for them.
I guess not.
As long as it's a game manager and he's not going to turn the ball over.
Right.
They got enough weapons on offense, and their defense is just stacked. They're not going to let I'm going to say the Seahawks are a mediocre team, mid-pack team.
Yep.
They're not going to
road.
let a team like that control the game against them. They're going to control the line of scrimmage. They're going to control the running game, and their playmakers make plays.
Yeah, and they end up winning that game by 8 points, so easily covered. And once they got that midseason trade from your Panthers, Christian McCaffrey, that really put them over the top.
It did.
They already had kind of that stable by running backs approach that's been working for them.
For sure.
And then you just throw that on top of it, and Deebo Samuel that can do a jet sweep or an end around, whatever.
Yep, they're a good team.
They really are, and like you said, it takes so much pressure off the quarterback.
Yeah.
And you touched on a couple of things there. As long as you don't turn it over and you just manage the game. Well, you know how many teams would win football games if they approached it that way?
Yeah.
Instead of putting it all on the quarterback's play.
Exactly.
Ask Russell Wilson about that.
Yeah.
The last 10 years of his career. Ask him how that's been working out for him.
It's not working. It's not working.
It's not
They're
working.
They're not riding with that.
It's not working whatsoever. Well, let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners. That is the Nebraska Brewing Company. I've been drinking the Cozy IPA. It's in their IPA series they came out with in the summer, and it's getting a little cold out, so the Cozy IPA, I think it's appropriate.
For sure.
What do you got going on over there?
Always Taco Vesa.
Taco Vesa.
Best beer at Nebraska Brewing Company. Best beer all year round.
It's an easy drinking beer. Why not?
It is.
Nebraska Brewing Company, world class in every glass. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL.